we move on to discuss the 49ers. They play Green Bay on Sunday, and it's as close as do is that as close as do or die as it gets. The 49ers are now 5-5, and they've struggled this season for their standards, for what they've done. This is a 49ers team since 2019. They've been in every single NFC championship game at least, besides that 1 year that they missed the playoffs because of all the injuries and, the culminations of injuries. And that was the year after they, lost the Super Bowl. And it seems like we might be getting a repeat of something similar to that. Obviously, this is not as bad so far as that. That season, it was just terrible. I mean, they completely fell apart. I don't think it's that this season. We still have a lot of our players, and the injury crisis is nowhere near as bad, and we're playing much better in the games than we played that year. Obviously, we're having in the 3 losses, the 49ers have had 90% win probability in their 3 division losses to the Cardinals, Seattle, and the Rams. And they've lost all those games. And again, that's the difference between being an 8-2 ball club and being a 5-5 ball club, with the playoffs now suddenly being on an outside looking in situation for the 49ers. So yeah, it's been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable. I cannot believe it's a 5-5 team, but overall, the offense, just doesn't look as creative as Kyle Shanahan's offenses in the past. You don't see, I'm looking at the statistics. The 49ers are one of the worst, or one of the bottom teams in terms of throws behind the line of scrimmages. How many times did Shanahan make it easy for Jimmy Garoppolo, give him these easy jet passes or screen passes to make life simpler? With Brock Purdy, I guess he has such an increased trust in him and his abilities. Half the time he's lining up shotgun, and he's giving the entire offense to Brock Purdy, and he needs to make the play. And it's just like, even with the quarterback as great as Brock Purdy, sometimes he needs things to be easier for him too. Patrick Mahomes is throws the most passes behind the line of scrimmage in the NFL. It's sometimes a quarterback can benefit off that, and we don't see that. On top of that, defensively, late game situations, they've not been able to get the stops that are needed, and overall, it's been poor. It's been poor. But what the 49ers do have is they have hope, because the team currently leading that division is only a game ahead of the 49ers. And but the problem is also the 49ers have a very difficult schedule to end off their year, while the Arizona Cardinals has an easy schedule as well. And they're still the Rams and Seahawks that also have the same record as the Niners, but they have a better tiebreaker. They have the tiebreaker over the Niners because of division record. So the Niners are in a hole. And the Niners are in a hole so bad that they have a do or die game essentially week 12 of the season. I couldn't believe that the 49ers would be in a do or die game this season. I can't believe it. We're in it's week 12, and the 49ers, according to Pro Football Focus PFF, they lose the game. Their probability to miss the playoffs, their probability to make the playoffs is 15%. 15% if they win the game. Not win the game. If they lose the game. Now, if they win the game, it jumps all the way to 53%. So that's a massive, massive change there. Making the playoffs, going from 53% to 15%. That is a massive difference. So to say this game is do or die, look, I've been saying it's do or die all the time. It's not do or die, but it's like, it's almost, your second to last lifeline almost. And you never want to get to your last lifeline because anything can happen. And with the Buffalo Bills game coming up next, the 49ers, they go away to Green Bay, they go away to Buffalo. Ideally, you want to win both of the games, but as a necessity, you have to win one. You have to be 6-6 out of, you're 6-6 through 12 games. You got the rest of the season in your hands almost. Like, you have a chance there. You go 5-7. For you to make a backdoor cut into the playoffs, you need help, even to sneak into that 7th spot. And yeah, the Niners, they don't want to find themselves in that position where they're relying on help from other teams just to get in. And I also think this is a big opportunity for Green Bay, or even if you're Detroit later on. I think Detroit plays the Niners in Week 17. I think both of those teams should give everything they got to beat these 49ers. Because you want to get these 49ers out when you have the chance. You don't want them sneaking back into the back doors, into the playoffs, and be that team just hovering over them. Especially if you're Detroit, you want the 49ers out of there. You do not want the 49ers in the playoffs. You don't want the 49ers to even be an option, because the 49ers, even when they sneak into the playoffs like they did in 2021, they still have that knockout punch ability where they can pull off a road upset here and there just because of the nature of the team and the coach to an extent. And if you're the Packers, you're trying to knock them dead when you can't, when you still can. I think the Rams, they made a mistake that year in 2021. They couldn't knock down the 49ers in Week 18. The 49ers came back into that game. I think the 49ers were down like 17-0 in that game. They needed to win that game to make the playoffs. They ended up coming back and winning that game. And then the 49ers went on a run. They beat the Cowboys in the wild card round. And then they beat the Packers in that crazy game where they blocked the punt to tie it off. Now the 49ers have an amazing and then the 49ers took out the Rams, and the Rams, they were able to get their get back. And I still believe that the Rams made a mistake, because I think it didn't make it more difficult for the Rams to reach the Super Bowl facing off that 49ers team in that NFC Championship. But they still got the job done, and they redeemed themselves for that mistake. So, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. They got it, so, good for them. But what I'm trying to say is, Green Bay have a great opportunity to knock out Detroit, because this is an NFC there's already a lot of difficult teams that you're gonna have to go through. There's Philadelphia, there's the Commanders. Which I think Commanders actually, I think they've fallen away from the rest of the pack. Philadelphia, Detroit, Green Bay. Those are three really, really good teams. The 49ers is a fourth team that can become really, really good if they can just get their crap together. You don't allow them to get their crap together, so that they don't even, so they're not even an option if you're a Green Bay, or if you're Detroit, you're looking at it from that aspect. And the game is going to be at Lambeau. I don't know if the frigid temperatures is going to be that big of a factor. I don't know if it'll get that cold this early. It's still, in November. You never know. I just got done earlier this show talking about a snow football game, a full-on snow football game in November. So you never know. It's a Mother Nature. Things can change. But I still think weathers will be a factor, because it is a cross-country trip for San Francisco, and they're a sunny outdoor football team going into the cold at Lambeau. But, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, these boys have, they played in that big Lambeau, the big game at Lambeau Field, way back then in 2021, when the 49ers was able to reach that NFC Championship. So I don't think it's going to be too big of a moment. These 49ers players have this experience. And I think the fact that you're going up against an opposition that has some real quality to them, that has, because the 49ers haven't played the greatest opponents, even in their 5 losses. They lost to the Rams, who are not great, Arizona, who are, decent, but they're not special or anything. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Even their wins the 49ers have, it hasn't been that great. I think the fact that you're going up against Green Bay, a team that can really, really test you, I think this has an opportunity to be a game that can almost shock the 49ers back into life and back into winning ways. And as a 49er fan, I hope it, because obviously I want to see us, back in the playoffs and back in the Super Bowl. But I don't know, that just seems so far-fetched right now. It's unbelievable. Thank you guys, though, for tuning into the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. So thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.